We know for a fact if Jack clips someone clean on the chin, they can go over. So it could happen in the first minute. It could happen in the 24th minute. Jack likes long fights. You know, he likes to be in there. But Jack's cardio, as we saw, Bilal's reputedly the best cardio in the UFC, and Jack out cardioed him. Bilal was more tired than Jack towards the end of the fight. And yeah, I like the fight. I really do.
Jack Della Maddalena isn't just grinding in the gym. He's transforming. Bulked up, sharper than ever, and pushing through brutal sessions, the Aussie striker looks like a man on a mission to keep that belt. Experts are already buzzing about how his evolving game matches up with Islam Makhachev's suffocating style. This collision feels less like a fight and more like a storm ready to break. You know, Makhachev fought Belal, and I like the matchups, Jack says. Styles make fights, and I like the different challenges each fighter brings. I'm excited to get in there. Islam's a better version of Belal. On the feet, I think it's easier because he stays in one stance, more traditional. But he's the pound-for-pound #1, so it's a tough fight. I'll watch all his fights again, make a solid game plan, and start working on ways to beat him. Getting back to my feet, stuffing the takedown. I'm confident I can get this one done.
Or, Makhachev fought bulkier, and I like the matchups, styles make fights, and I like the different challenges that every different fighter presents. So I'm just excited to get in there. Islam Makhachev is a better version of Belal. The striking on the feet, I think it's easier than Belal because he'll stay in one stance. He's more traditional style. But yeah, he's the pound for pound #1, so it's a tough fight. But I guess we'll just watch all his fights again, make a solid game plan, and then just start working at it. From pretty much now, I'm going to start working on ways to beat him, different ways to get back to my feet, stuffing the takedown. But I'm pretty confident I can get this one done.
Joe Rogan highlights what makes Jack so dangerous: his ability to blend body shots with head strikes. While many fighters hunt for knockouts upstairs, Jack chips away with precision downstairs, then punishes up top. Rogan says that calculated mix breaks opponents piece by piece until nothing's left. He's very good at striking, one of the best in the sport at mixing shots from body to head. He just breaks guys down. He's a scary guy.
Good at grappling.
He's very good at striking too. He's like one of the best in the sport at mixing up shots from the body to the head. Because so many fighters, for whatever reason, are headhunters. Because you can knock a guy out with one shot. But Jack is so good at mixing shots up to the body and to the head. He just breaks guys down.
Man, he's a scary guy.
Jack has been perfecting his striking to deliver crushing shots to Islam, but his coach, Ben Vickers, insists people are sleeping on Jack's wrestling and grappling. We're confident Jack can't be held down, Vickers says. 25 minutes in a cage with Jack means damage, body shots, head shots, relentless strikes. No welterweight can endure that. We're practicing a holistic approach.
People underestimate Jack's wrestling and grappling ability. We're very confident that Jack can't be held down in 25 minutes. To be in a cage with Jack, him doing damage to you, hitting you in the body, hitting you repeatedly, landing a lot of significant strikes. I don't believe anyone in the welterweight division can endure that.
Grappling expert Craig Jones, who's been hands-on with Jack's preparation, praises Jack's boxing and, more importantly, his takedown defense, something Jones proudly takes credit for sharpening. I've been a fan since his Contender Series debut. He had specific grappling moves that blew me away. Working with him is about adding subtle tweaks and giving him confidence to trust his skills when the cage door closes.
Fence wrestling, Jack's got great boxing, sort of complementary skills for the upcoming fight. So I would say that was one of the first times I spent a bit of a stint with Jack. He joined Volk's camp for a little bit. So yeah, I mean, on and off for a bit, but yeah, this was the first time cornering him for Belal. And we really...
What a performance.
Yeah, amazing.
How much of that credit goes to you?
All of it, I think that's fair to say.
I mean, the takedown defense was unbelievable. That's all you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this guy's not going to be able to take me down either.
Sure.
Hopefully my skills translate personally as well. But yeah, I mean, For me personally, when I coach an MMA fighter, like we have a short window of time to work with them, right? So like Jack Della, I've been a fan of his since his, was it the Dana White Contender Series debut? And I remember seeing him hit some specific grappling moves that blew me away. So I would say that like, as just a fan of grappling, I appreciate what he does. So when he asked me to help him, I already knew what his game sort of looked like. So it's really just adding little things in there, like, and also most importantly, giving him confidence, right? Like,
Analysts aren't holding back with predictions. Dan Hooker sees this matchup as a major step up, especially with how determined Jack's team has been to chase the fight. It'll be close. Islam has a chance, but the fight leans towards Jack. He's a big boy.
Pretty confident stylistically with that Jack Della fight to kind of gone out of their way to chase that fight down. So they obviously see something. I feel like it'll be close, but yeah, that's a big step up. Jack Della's a pretty big boy.
Do you think Islam can get past him?
He's obviously got like I feel like he's got a chance, but I feel like that fight leans towards Jack.
Elijah Smith leans the opposite way, pointing to Bilal Muhammad's loss to Jack. Bilal tried to prove he could strike and paid for it, Smith explains. Islam won't fall into that trap. He'll shoot for takedowns relentlessly, bringing Khabib-like pressure. Styles make fights, and Islam won't hesitate to wrestle.
I want to say Islam, and the reason why I say Islam is because I feel like Bilal, he went out there when he fought Jack, and he went out there trying to prove the fans that he can strike, which I think that kind of hurt him. I feel like if Bilal went out there and did what he did to, what's his name, Leon Edwards, I think he probably would have had a better chance of getting the win, but it seemed like he just wanted to show people that he had with Canelo hands, which sometimes you don't need to prove anybody anything. You're the champion. You don't have to prove anything to somebody who's trying to take your spot. You just got to go out there and fight your game. If they stop it, then we move on to something different. But I think Islam is that type of guy where he's not going to be scared to take you down or shoot repetitively, almost in that Khabib-esque type of feel. But I guess we'll see. You know what they say.
Eric Anders also picks Islam, but warns Jack's sharp boxing can catch anyone. Islam's a much better wrestler than Bilal and will actively seek takedowns instead of standing and trading. That persistence gives him the edge.
I'm gonna go Islam. I really like Jack. I think he's like a superb fighter, you know, especially with his boxing and whatnot. He could catch Islam, but yeah, you know, he's clearly a much better wrestler than Bilal, and will actively seek the takedowns instead of just trying to stand and bang with them. So I think that Islam.
Julius Walker sparks debate with his coaches, siding with Jack. Islam's moving up on short notice, Walker argues. He hasn't had time to put on real muscle. There's going to be a size difference. I don't see Islam beating Jack on the feet, and I'm not sure his grappling is that much better than Bilal's. Plus, Craig Jones is in Jack's corner. Remember how Volkanovski pushed Islam to the brink with Jones's help? Jack's bigger and stronger. I think he stuffs the takedowns, lands clean shots, and wins. Then Islam goes back to lightweight for the Dustin Poirier fight fans want.
So this is a fun one that you're asking me. Is my coaches and I and the guys I'm down here with, we had a little bit of an argument about this one. I actually had taken JDM in that fight just due to the fact that, for one, I think a lot of people aren't thinking enough about the fact that Islam's moving up on this weight in really short notice. Because as far as I know, Islam was waiting for the result of the Bilal and JDM fight, and that fight was like 2 months ago, or 3 months ago or something like that. So it's like it's not like he's had a bunch of time to move up to welterweight. There's no way he's put on any real muscle. Like he might have put on like 2 pounds of muscle in the amount that he hasn't had any time to do so. So I think there's going to be a size difference. And then if you think that Islam's winning, my question is like, do you think he's going to beat JDM on the feet? Because I don't see that happening. And then I don't understand why people because I feel like they're going to put Islam as the favorite, but it's like, dude, you mean to tell me Islam's that much better of a grappler than Bilal? You know what I mean? The 170-pound champion of the world who defeated literally everybody other than JDM. So I definitely actually can see JDM winning that fight. And another reason I can see JDM winning that fight is the last Australian that had training from Craig Jones, the Islam fight, when he fought Volkanovski. Volkanovski won on a full camp. It was a real close fight, and JDM's just a different animal, bigger, longer, stronger. So I actually think JDM's going to win that fight. I think he's going to be able to stuff the takedowns and land the shots on the feet, and I think he's actually going to claim that victory. And then I think that means that we're going to get Islam going back down to fight Topuria, which is what, at the end of the day, that's what we all want to see.
Daniel Cormier calls it a fascinating matchup. DC says, Jack surprised me with how polished he looked against Bilal. Islam won't cut as much weight and will be fresher. It comes down to Islam's wrestling versus Jack's takedown defense. If Islam drags him down early, it's usually game over. But if Jack defends, we could see something special.
I think Islam and Jack Della Maddalena is a great fight. Della Maddalena surprised me in this fight with Bilal Muhammad. Like, he just showed that he's much better than people gave him credit for. He's so well-rounded, so skilled. Makhachev, though, bigger, will have an ability to not be cutting all the weight. He'll be more full. He'll be more, like, fresh. I'm interested. I think that it'll come down to the wrestling of Islam versus Jack's takedown defense and how stingy is he going to be able to be with Islam? Because when Islam can take guys down early, they really struggle. The only time a fight even looks competitive is when they can defend takedowns and he spends large amounts of time on his feet, which he does really well too.
Charles Oliveira breaks it down to pure styles. He notes, Jack wears opponents out with steady pressure, but Islam could be more dangerous at welterweight with extra size and strength amplifying his grappling. If he forces it to the canvas, it could be a nightmare for Jack.
O que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam?
Maddalena, ele é jogo muito complicado, porque ele é cara que ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem pra te finalizar, ele vem te magoando, né?
Aos poucos, né?
Aos poucos. Foi o que ele fez agora na luta contra o Bilal. Só que eu acho que o Islam vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é jogo que, tipo, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né? Agora contra o Bilal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta, mas se deixar o Islam agarrar e botar pra baixo, é o time.
Luke Thomas points to Jack's evolution. His takedown defense and get-ups once looked vulnerable against Bilal, but now he's scrambling with more control and poise. With a full camp under Craig Jones, Jack's a more complete opponent. Islam's precise and hard to hit clean, but moving to 170 brings unknowns. Skipping the weight cut might make him stronger or expose weaknesses. JDM is the better striker, no question, but Islam's relentless wrestling forces opponents to second-guess every exchange. If he wins at 170, the pound-for-pound debates will explode.
We talked about the issues heading into the fight with Bilal Muhammad, where he had second-order get-up ability, but he didn't have great down blocking, meeting takedowns. When your opponent makes contact with you, greeting them at the point of contact with defense, and he got way better about it. Plus his get-ups also got a lot better. And if you actually listen to his coach on Submission Radio, what he says is they only worked with Craig Jones for a few weeks last time. Now they're going to get him for basically the entire camp. Dude, JDM is a formidable talent that Islam is up against. However, Islam, whose career is not blemish-free, but in general has proven, and especially in this more senior role, to just make excellent decisions, defensively sound everywhere, doesn't get hit clean. I mean, again, obviously he's got that one loss, but in general, what the record shows is that he doesn't get hit super clean. We don't know how he's going to adjust to 70 pounds, 170 pounds, given he's moving up. He did have some problems, not making weight, but like what the weight cut did to him in order to make 55. So it'll be very curious to see what the size differential is, such that there is one. It'll be very curious to see what the added bulk does for Islam, what the lesser weight cut does for Islam. These are things we don't know, but it's going to be really interesting to pay attention.
For Jack, the stakes couldn't be higher. Coming off a shaky outing against Hafiz and a tight fight with Kevin Holland, his dominant win over Bilal cemented him among the elite. Beating Islam wouldn't just mark his first title defense, it would be the career-defining moment that elevates Australian MMA. Luke highlights the growing Australia versus Russia rivalry, made spicier with Craig Jones backing Jack.
And of course, JDM has pure better striking than Islam. About that, there's no question, but we saw that in the Poirier fight to the extent that the Makhachev opponents can be influenced by wrestling itself or wrestling threats. It limits what they can do in the stand-up. Can he do something like that to Della Maddalena? And for a guy like Islam, if he can go up to the next weight class and get a belt, does he reclaim the top pound-for-pound spot? There's going to be some debate over that, but it's certainly going to be a question that you have to wrestle with. Meanwhile, Della Maddalena, a guy who has always been highly regarded, but they didn't know exactly what the upside would be, especially after the Basil Hafez fight. What are we really going to get with this guy? And, kind of went tooth and nail with Kevin Holland. Shows up big against Belal Muhammad. Dude, if you get a win over Islam Makhachev, that's easily the best win of your career. That would be his first title defense. That would be an enormous feather in his cap. A huge win for Australia and that part of the world. Just an enormous amount of stakes. And also kind of interesting, I kind of like this Australia-Russian rivalry a little bit here that's happening, in part because of what Craig Jones is doing in the grappling with Volk previously. But, Craig Jones has really had, because of the work with Volk and just more broadly what he's doing, he's going to be well situated to get JDM prepared. Islam is going to have to come with something a little bit different, I think, this time in order to have the success that he wants. But he is exceedingly well-rounded. He is exceedingly tough. He is exceedingly skilled in virtually all departments. So this is such a great fight.
With Jack's momentum and Islam's all-around mastery, this clash shapes up as a true high-stakes classic. Now that we've broken down Jack's camp and the expert insights, the big question remains: does he have what it takes to hold on to the belt against Islam? Out of all the analysts weighing in, whose perspective do you think hits the mark? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure to subscribe so you never miss the latest from the MMA world.